Hi and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to give some more clairvoyant insights and predictions about the coronavirus. Well, I'm back from India. As some of you have seen my earlier videos about some of the things I did there. Avoided the coronavirus all through the airports. Was very careful with everything I did to make sure you sanitize my hands and everything like that as we go through. And here I am, I've got the flu. But fortunately, not the corona flu, because it was a friend that came round and gave it to Jane, who gave it to me. So it just goes to show, though, just how easy it is to get the flu, even with all the precautions we take. So this coronavirus is a worrying thing because it's the type of thing that can spread so easily. But before I begin giving you some insights and some of the things I learned in India about the coronavirus, have a look at these couple of clips from other channels that picked up on the predictions I made right way back about this epidemic that was going to happen.
Worldwide flu epidemic. Craig Hamilton Parker has predicted a worldwide flu epidemic to occur around December 2017, possibly into mid-2018.
Last year I made another prediction, and I talked about a world flu epidemic, and I said this would happen towards the end of 2017 or at the start of 2018. Now don't be alarmed, I don't think this is going to be like the big pig flus that wiped thousands of people out. I think it was not pig flu, there was another one, the big ones, you know, that wiped people out after the First World War. It's not that type of level, but I still feel there's going to be some warnings, there's going to be some concern about this, because I feel this still could happen. I still feel it's, you know, I've said it for that time. There's also, you know, there was another thing I had a bit of a feeling that this could be some subterfuge going on here, like a form of biological warfare, that someone's trying to seed an illness from North Korea by a terrorist group trying to seed a cold. Now, I think I'm seeing two things. I think there's going to be a flu epidemic of some sort. That is going to be quite a serious one they have to deal with. But I think we also stop terrorism doing this. They're caught with some form of biological weapon that they want to seed as a cold or something like that, a virus. You know, it gets stopped. So I think I'm seeing two issues combined there. So I don't want to alarm people too much with that, but I feel that we might catch them stop them doing something like that. But there's also a general flu epidemic. I think that's going to be something that we need to be concerned about. Let's see what happens. I really hope I'm wrong with that one.
Now, as I say with all my prediction work, I'm fallible. So sometimes I get things right and sometimes I get things wrong. I'm usually generally pretty much on target with most things, but I had this real strong feeling about an epidemic, but my timing was a bit out, and all the newspapers picked up on it at the time that I made those predictions, and then I thought, well, it's not going to happen. So I didn't include them in my 2020. I lost a bit of faith in myself, and then suddenly I realised, it's exactly happening as I predicted. Now, in the earlier video I made recently, I said that my initial predictions said that I felt that there was going to be a virus that was going to spread around the world that had some link to of getting out of a laboratory of some sort. And then I kind of thought, well, maybe I'm wrong with that. But my thoughts have been more towards this idea that something got out somewhere. Now, I just want to point something out for us. I was reading in the Times, the Sunday Times, right? On Sunday Times, this is the edition of the March the 1st, okay, that's this Sunday, and I was a bit concerned to read this because it said in a little corner of the page, on page 17 of the Sunday Times, just in the corner it says here, it said Chinese scientists destroyed proof of virus in December. And it said Chinese laboratories identified a mystery virus as a highly infectious new pathogen by late December last year, but they were ordered to stop tests, destroy samples and suppress the news, a Chinese media outlet has revealed. A regional health official in Wuhan, centre of the outbreak, demanded the destruction of the lab samples that established the cause of unexplained viral pneumonia on January the 1st. China did not acknowledge there was human-to-human transmission until more than 3 weeks later. So why destroy the evidence? Why destroy that? You know, that is absolutely crucial stuff that could help find the source. Now, they keep saying the source is zoonotic, isn't it? Or I think that's what they call it, zoonotic or something like that, where it's caused by animals, where they're chopping up bats and they're chopping up all sorts of other creatures that are full of all these bacteria, and then it jumps into one animal to another and then into the human chain. But, you know, they're doing that all the time, not just in China, but in I believe in all of Southeast Asia. They're doing they're eating these wild animals. So really, if that's the case, we should see much more of this. It makes me think that this has come out of a lab. And I don't know what your opinion of this is, so put a comment below if you think I'm right or wrong with this, but I'm getting a stronger feeling that my initial predictions that I made right back before this happened was that there was something linked with a escape from a lab. Now, if one of those type of things that they make as a germ warfare type thing, for example, I mean, if it was that in its pure form, we'd all be dead now, because it would spread so fast it would be a killer. My thought is, could this be some kind of carrier that escaped, some less dangerous type of thing? That it was like, you know, if you're going to play around with mutating stuff for germ warfare, and I'm not a scientist, but couldn't you take a cold of some sort, particularly a cold strain that you know people couldn't resist very easily, and then maybe tag something else onto it, you know, so that it becomes easily transmissible by the cold fluids, and that becomes like a carrier for something else? I don't know if that's possible, but that's my feeling about what happened with this. So what we're seeing is not the full-blown germs that come from the labs for destructive war, but we've got something that is like a carrier system, a part thing, and that's why I think they destroyed it. The other thought, of course, is Kim Jong-un. I mean, he offered a Christmas present for Donald Trump, didn't he? He said, I'm going to give you a new Christmas present. And we were kind of expecting another launch over Christmas or something like that. And it didn't happen, did it? So was that it? Because I get a gut feeling he's somewhere in the background there with that. Because that was in my original prediction, that I felt that North Korea would be behind some germ release. Anyway, I can't answer that. It makes you think, though, about the whole thing that happened there. So, you know, just again, put your comments. What do you think? Am I wrong with that? I mean, am I just letting my own imagination get carried away here rather than my clairvoyance? But I feel, you know, because, you know, sometimes when I get these clairvoyant insights, they come to me in a flash. I scribble them down, and then I'm almost in the same position as you are. I'm looking back to them, trying to interpret what was given to me, you know? It kind of comes in a form that's almost not me, you know? And that's why even these predictions that I make that come true almost intrigue me as much as they might you, because I don't know where they come from. Anyway, there was another interesting thing. Now, I've just come back from India, as I told you, and I saw Sharavana Baba there. I was on an ashram, as you might have seen from my other videos, and he's a really powerful guy. You know, he goes in, he says things to you on a clairvoyant level, and you think, I've just had a conversation with somebody, and he's repeated that conversation back to me, even though, you know, there's no way you could hear it, way out of earshot. And he repeats conversations back you just had. So, excuse the cough. I warn, it's not corona. But he went into a trance, and he goes into trances and channels the Naga, which are like the snake levels. He channels a Kali, and he channels Shiva, okay, the energies of those gods. And he was channeling, I think it was Kali, or he was making some channeling of ones, or he goes into a trance, and he started to speak in English, because most of it's in his native language, and he said that there will be 2 more viruses. The world would experience 2 more viruses after this one. And that shook me really, because that was something I was also feeling. So I don't think this, because remember last time I said to you, let's take this as a warning, because there could be something far worse that could be resistant to antibiotics. Now viruses are not aren't affected by antibiotics so much, but I get the feeling there could be something else that could be of a similar nature, but we can't fight. So no, I don't want to be the prophet of doom and gloom. I hate all that, but I do think we've got to take a warning from this, and I hope governments take a warning from this, that we do need to treat this as a dry run. Now, on the positive side, as I said before, I think we will contain this one. I mean, if you look back to the, some of the pandemics that there were in the past, they really killed millions. I mean, the Spanish flu killed more people than the First World War. More people died of flu than the First World War, which is a frightening proposition. But I don't think we got one of that scale, not this time round. So I think it will be contained. I did some meditations today, and I felt my spirit guides come close to me. And one of the things I was told, that it would hit Russia, and that would be one of the hardest places to eradicate it from. That it's going to be, it's going to linger in the outbacks of Russia for a while. So they're going to have, it's going to be difficult for them to control it. And I also think there's going to be restrictions on clampdowns, particularly in London, and I feel they may limit transport. They may stop public transport in London. That's one of the things I get the feeling they're going to do. Football matches stopped and things like that, particularly the London area, because I get the feeling that London is going to be one of the hardest hits. Also Birmingham came to mind, and Glasgow as well, but I didn't see details for that. And also I saw Chicago as another area that has to have they clamp it down, and it won't be forever, but it'll be a period of time of a couple of weeks or something like that, where they're trying to contain things a bit more. There will be a vaccine, but the vaccine I feel will be produced a little bit too late for us, really. Not too late to completely, but it'll come a little bit too slow behind the virus because of the testing times involved with it. So although a vaccine's going to be there, my feeling is it's not going to be something that's going to sort of wipe it out just like that. There's going to be a question with this one of containment, and I do feel we will contain it, and the stock market afterwards will recover, because obviously it's going to be hit. And don't forget, in my last predictions I was saying, if you're investing in the stock market, I said invest in pharmaceutical companies, didn't I? And obviously they're going to be stocks that are going to go through the roof, because there's going to be so much need for hospital equipment worldwide. So that's my thoughts. But there's also another thought with this too, because if you look at all the world's troubles, really, all the world's troubles can be put down mainly to overpopulation, and the world has kind of reached, on a material level, the limits of its growth. How much more can we keep talking about growing stock markets, growing industries, growing national products, and all the rest of it? All these terms are all based on growth. And I think we've really got to start thinking about pulling ourselves back a little bit and starting to get those things as the top of the agenda of the problems in the world. And it makes me wonder, because I do subscribe to this idea that the earth itself is conscious, that nature is conscious, and maybe it's nature trying to warn us that if we go on indefinitely expanding and overpopulating the world and overpolluting the world and destroying nature, that perhaps this is a warning that what could happen, albeit, like I've said, it's from a lab of some sort. But there's other things I think behind this too. Things we ought to think about. We ought to think much bigger as a world. You know, these are global problems. And I remember years and years ago when I was first learning to be a medium in my early 20s, the medium went into trance, and I asked a lot of questions about the future of the world, you know. And in the trance he said we wouldn't destroy ourselves by nuclear bombs. And we would, however, the world would come together because of global problems that affected everybody. He talked about Iraq at that time, amazingly too, and Iran, and what was going to happen there. But it stuck in my mind that disease and pandemics are global problems that could be one way that the world could start to think much more globally and a lot less selfishly. Okay, so, you know, don't panic. I get the feeling that I think we'll be seeing the gradual end of these things towards the end of April and into summer. It says me coughing away into summertime. I think by the summer we'll start to see. I think we'd have beaten it. Anyway, thanks for joining me. If you've been enjoying this channel, do also maybe join up as a patron, because these videos like this one today are released first on the Patreon channel and then they're released to the public. But also it helps with our work if you become a patron. It helps us to produce better videos, produce more videos, to give us more time to be able to do videos, you know, and help us to do our charitable work and the remits we've got with the ideas such as, you know, building a centre and doing a lot of charitable work. There needs to be more of that worldwide. Okay, thanks for joining us, and if you'd like a reading at all, I'm out of action at the moment, but you can get some great readings from the people on my website. Many of those have been carefully scrutinised, and they're people that have good high quality of reading. So when you buy one of those readings, you're also supporting me and Jane as well with our work, because obviously that's another stream to our income. So yeah, choose one of our readers, have a look. There's some really good people there, and you can call them internationally. Okay, thanks for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're new to this channel, click that little bell thingy, you'll get subscribed. I always forget to tell you that, don't I? See you soon. Bye for now.